And now the Supreme Court has been reshaped by three appointments under former President Donald Trump and has been called the most conservative leaning in modern U.S. history with 6-3 conservative majority. Now here's Associated Press reporter Max Sherman on the significance of those appointments.
Seems quite likely to uphold a Mississippi law that would ban abortion after 15 weeks. And that's a decision that at the very least could serve to dramatically undermine abortion rights in states like Mississippi that want to severely restrict, if not ban, abortion altogether. The court also could go further and effective and explicitly overrule both its Roe v. Wade decision, the 1973 landmark that established a woman's right to an abortion throughout the United States, and also the 1992 Planned Parenthood v. Casey case that reaffirmed Roe. Both of those precedents seem to be in jeopardy after today's arguments, although we won't know for sure until this case is decided, which probably won't happen until late June. The court now has a 6-3 conservative majority, and that includes three appointees of President Donald Trump, who pledged to appoint what he called pro-life justices who would, as he said, automatically overturn Roe v. Wade. And so those justices today were part of the conservative majority that seemed quite ready to uphold the Mississippi law and raise serious questions about the fate of the Roe and Casey decisions. Until now, states can regulate but not ban abortion before the point of viability, which is at roughly 24 weeks. The Mississippi law is a 15-week ban, and the conservatives didn't seem to have very serious questions about upholding that law, despite the fact that the viability line, despite the fact that it's well before viability. About half the states, if Roe and Casey were overturned, about half the states would ban or severely restrict abortion. That's according to the Guttmacher Institute, which is a research organization that supports abortion rights. Many of those states are in the South and Midwest.
We have Arise US Correspondent Rotimi KADE joining us now for more on this story. Good morning, Rotimi. Can you tell us the significance of the arguments that have been heard in the Supreme Court?
The significance is very numerous. First of all, it's a conservative bench of 6-3, and going into it obviously mean that the ruling most likely going to be tilted towards one side. Yesterday was very rich in terms of the arguments from both sides, but from the submissions of the three newly appointed justices by former President Donald Trump, it shows that most likely they will be tilting towards doing away with two landmark judgments. First of all, one in 1973, which is Roe versus Wade case, and the one recently in 1992, the Planned Parenthood versus Casey, which gives women the rights over their own body and at what points they can, have access to abortion. And of course, these are very, very significant in terms of going forward. Don't forget that a more conservative bench definitely would most likely quash those judgments that women have been, relying on for the past 50 years.
All right, Rotimi, if Roe versus Wade, which you just mentioned, is overturned, what options do the Biden administration have?
Well, there's no many options because this is the Supreme Court. I think from the submissions of, the conservative justices yesterday, except the Chief Justice John Roberts, who wants to maintain neutrality, saying that, we can do away with we can maintain the Roe versus Roe and Casey, but that we can leave the rest to the states to actually decide. And many of the Republican states have what they call the trigger laws standing by, which means they've already passed a law in principle, which could limit abortion or ban abortion outrightly. And I think that's why the proponents of that abortion rights are actually against that argument that going forward it will mean that even though as it is the Constitution did not specifically point out about abortion, whether it is right or wrong, for states that regulates the abortion after 24 weeks, that's the point of availability, can further reduce it to maybe 8 or 6 weeks, which makes it more difficult for women to have or to choose not to have abortion or choose to have abortion either way.
All right. Well, Rotimi, thank you so much for your insight on this situation as it continues to develop in the U.S.